Welcome back to Rock Resurgence Radio, where the riffs are loud, the hooks are huge, and the rock never stops. Tonight we're breaking down the top 10 album closers, the final tracks that leave a lasting impact and seal some of the greatest records in rock history. Joining us once again is a special guest, host of Hop's Metal Show, the one and only Hopper. He's here to help debate, rank, and maybe even shake up this list. So crank it up and let's do this. This is Rock Resurgence Radio.
Welcome back, everybody, to Rock Resurgence Radio. My name is Chad, the host.
And I'm your co-host, Bergie.
Hey, today we got a special guest again. We got Hopper back for a little episode. We're going to do the top 10 closing songs. So the last song on the album, how the album got closed out. And yeah, it should be a pretty fun episode. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea. And actually, this was kind of Hopper's idea.
It was, yes.
It was a good idea, really. I kind of want to talk a little bit about how I put my list together.
Yeah. Should we introduce our guest
we
first?
Should probably
we should
do
all
that.
kind of talk about how we did that. Yeah. Hopper, let's introduce you and tell everybody where you can find your stuff on YouTube and Facebook and stuff. And then we'll get into our lists and talking about them.
All right, sounds good. And thanks again, fellas, for having me on.
Absolutely.
You can find me. I got a YouTube channel. You can find me on there. It's Hop's Metal Show, and I also have a Facebook group. Same thing, Hop's Metal Show, and we usually do just people post different random stuff. Like we do, like pick which song you'd like better. I don't know, all that stuff like
You do
that.
a lot of reaction videos and stuff, also, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and actually we've done some brackets. I don't know if y'all have ever done brackets, but they're a lot of fun too.
No,
I haven't, but I have thought about that.
Yeah, me too.
So, and I know you just had a big interview with Brian Forseth of Kicks. I know I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I'm going to.
Yeah, he's really cool. And we actually interviewed Gary Jeffries Sunday, the guy that sang for Asphalt Ballet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Super cool dude.
I recognize the name, but I couldn't put it together. I was like, God dang it, that name sounds familiar, but I couldn't think of who it was. But cool. Well, welcome to the show, and thanks for coming back, and we appreciate you being on. And with that, I'll let you start, Chris, since you kind of want to talk about how you put your list together.
Yeah.
And,
When we talked about it, we kind of went back and forth a little bit about, are we just going to do hair metal songs, or are kind of opening it up to everything? And I think I tried to keep mine mostly hair metal, but I did put a couple, and you'll see a few on there that are like, wow, I wouldn't say off the wall. I just think they're great closing songs for an album.
Yep.
And I couldn't keep them off. Like, I don't have any country songs or anything like that, but
no,
I have some older rock tunes and things like that. So, and maybe even some pop stuff.
And I think you and I did it the same way. We went through our Apple Music and our library and went to every album and seen what the closing song was, pretty much. Not every album, but most.
Sure, right away, I thought of two right away, and those are my top two. And I'm like, those are fucking great closers. And the other thing I did, too, was I tried to have no repeat bands. So if I got one GNR song, not to give anything away just yet, I didn't have two. So
right. I don't have any repeats either. How'd you go about doing it? You kind of do the same way we did it?
Yeah, I kind of had an idea of what I wanted, a couple of them, but when I really got digging in, it was like there was a lot more than I thought. I mean, I was talking like y'all, I think I did 20. Well, I had 30, and then I was like, well, I'm going to pull the thrash off, and I'll just strictly keep the hair metal. And I ended up having to whittle down 20 to 10, and that was quite interesting too.
Yeah.
Before, you mentioned something about your group helping you pick the songs. Is that, or did you just do them all yourself, kind of thing?
No, I didn't even get a single response to that. Well, no, I got one response, but it wasn't enough that I could really work with. So I just went ahead and did my personal.
Your own. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess we can
get this party started.
Get this party started with our list. And should we start with our guest?
I think we should start with our guest.
Okay, we'll go with Hopper, you and me.
Sure.
Or you want to be a little closer?
No, you're the host with the
okay.
most.
All right. Well, I don't know about that, but Hopper, we'll let you go first. We'll go 10-1. So if you put them in order, and then we'll, if we have any discussion about each song, we can do that too.
Yeah, we'll each do our 10, and we'll start with Hopper.
All right, for I guess for the 10th one, I got House of Pain by Van Halen.
Okay.
I mean, it's 1984. I think it's a desert island record for me. I mean, that thing is good from beginning to end. And it's Eddie Van Halen. I mean, Eddie crushed on guitar. He was a god, and his guitar work on that song's phenomenal, just like all his other stuff.
Good pick.
So that come in at number 10. Yeah, House of Pain off 1984.
Never go wrong with Van Halen in my book.
No, you can't, and you are correct. Eddie Van Halen is a god, and I dig that tune too. Didn't make my list, but I did look at all the Van Halens. Well, not all of them, but I looked at them and I was like, when we were doing this, it seemed like there wasn't, I ended up with a lot. I ended up with 45 on my list, but yeah. That's out of 1,000 albums. Not 1,000, but it's a lot. So most people don't put a real strong song at the end, but I think we found some gems out there.
Yeah.
So, well, that was a good pick, Hopper. Why don't we move on to you, Chris?
Yeah, no doubt. Really good pick. And I did the same thing. I went through all the Van Halen songs and I actually have one of theirs on my honorable mention at the end. So stay tuned. But so the song I picked for my number 10, you got to go way back to 1966.
Ooh.
And it's really just a perfect ending song on an album. And it's actually the Doors' debut album, self-titled The Doors. And the name of the song is The End.
Yeah. Good pick.
Yeah, the lyrics on it, I mean, it's the song was actually in Apocalypse Now, the movie. So it's kind of got some, a Vietnam feel, of course, in that movie. But I got way into the Doors in about 91. I was in the Navy. And there was a guy that I hung out with, and his name was Ryan Duggar. Hope he's watching somewhere or still around somewhere. Gosh, I haven't talked to that guy for 30-something years, but stationed in Virginia. And he was a huge Doors fan, and that Doors movie came out shortly after I had kind of gotten into it with Val Kilmer, and I don't remember who was all in it, but was Meg Ryan the gal in it?
It's been so long, and I don't think I even seen the whole movie. I've seen bits and pieces of it.
She was one of my favorites.
Oh, I loved her. Ugh, when Harry met Sally. God dang it.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yep. Anyway.
So the end.
Get on track.
Closing song, and the song's like 12 minutes long. I have another Doors song that's on my honorable mentions, but I'm just going to not be long-winded and say that's my number 10, The End from the Doors, self-titled.
Cool. I never really got into the Doors all that much. I know their bigger songs. We played a song called Roadhouse Blues in our band at one point. Which is a really cool song. And we played that song, and so I didn't get into them that much, but I enjoy their story and stuff. And that Jim Morrison seemed like a pretty interesting character.
Yeah, I got really deep into him, honestly, probably too deep. I have a whole box set of all their CDs. I couldn't sit here and name every that song is off of Soft Parade or whatever.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
But I used to probably be able to because I was way into them because of this guy or whatever. And my buddy, he's like, "Man, you got to listen to this, and you got to check this out." And pretty soon I did.
My brother-in-law kind of got pretty into those guys. I think he was into Pink Floyd and shit like that too. I think he was a dope smoker.
Yeah, shocker, but yeah.
Anyways, how about you, Hopper? You in the Doors, or you got anything to say about his pick?
I'm kind of like Chris. I know. Once I turned on to the movie, it was kind of made me a fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew I knew a little bit about them, but after that, I explored them a little bit, and I guess as the older I got, the more I appreciated, everything they done.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. That's kind of me too. So, Okay, well, on to me with number 10. I have Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution by AC/DC, and it's on the Back in Black album, which came out in 1980, I believe. Um, just a We just did an AC/DC episode, so I had this one kind of fresh in my mind. And matter of fact, I got screwed on the AC/DC draft, and the guy took it right before me. So I'm a little butthurt about that. So I had to pick it this time. Basically, I'll read a little something here about the song. AC/DC is championing rock and roll music in this song, which is something they did consistently throughout their career, steadfastly refusing to alter the style or cross genres. In 1980, rock needed a champion. Led Zeppelin had disbanded, and mainstays like Black Sabbath, the Rolling Stones, Rainbow, and Kiss were either out of the game or dabbling in ballads or worse, disco. So it's and then Brian, the beginning part, hey all you middlemen, that was basically improvised on the spot, which is really cool. 12 seconds into the song, you can hear a click of a lighter, and then someone taking a pull from a cigarette. It was most likely Brian. This is off of a site called Songfacts. And the song's opening riff has been featured in series of TV ads for Applebee's restaurant, which started being shown in May of 2016. So, anyways, I really think that's a cool tune, kind of an underrated little gem from AC/DC, and I really dig it. So that's why it's on my list.
Yeah, that that beginning lyric, like you said in we did an AC/DC episode about him, spoken word basically.
Yeah.
And the guy, didn't the producer just say something here?
Yeah, just say something, and he basically
Off the top of his head came up with the, hey there, all you middlemen.
Throw away your fancy clothes.
Yeah.
Get out. Whatever he says.
While you're out there sitting on the fence, get off your ass, come down here.
Yep. He just kind of spit that out. It was kind of improvised, and they recorded it, and away it went.
Yeah, and the rock and roll ain't no riddle, man. That always sticks out in my head.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know what that said for the longest time.
that's funny. But he talks about it in his book, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't figure out what the fuck he said. Ain't no riddle, man. And I was like, what is he saying there? I just kind of made it up.
But now that you know, it makes good sense, right?
It does. It makes great sense. Good sense. Yep. So, anyways, anybody? Anything?
That's your number.
I don't know that album. That's another one, kind of like
Desert Island.
Another Desert Island record. That thing's solid through and through.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, it would be if I had one. It wouldn't be the one probably, but I'd pick something longer.
Close.
It'd be close.
Yeah,
I'd probably pick something Metallica because they're my favorite and they're also longer.
It's a little longer. Last year, a little longer.
The songs are like 7 to 9 minutes, So, but anyways, okay, we can move on to number 9. Hopper, what you got?
Number 9, I got Skid Row's "Wasted Time" off "Slave to the Grind."
Another solid pick.
Gosh, when I listen to that playback, now I know why Sebastian was the man back in the day. That's a vocal piece and a half there.
Oh, he can sing like no other.
Yeah.
I don't know if he still can, but
I think he can. Pretty decent, yeah.
Pretty decent, yeah. I think so.
Decent. I don't think he's what he was in his prime, but he's still not bad.
Well, neither am I.
I don't think any guys our age are what they were in their prime.
To quote Toby Keith, I ain't as good as I once was.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We did find a way to get a country reference in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, good pick, and I actually.
That's on my honorables.
Yep, it didn't make my honorables, but it was one that I considered for sure because I love me some Skid Row.
I do too.
Yeah.
Midnight Tornado was not it.
No, and that's not a good closer. It's not a bad closer,
it's not
I guess.
Terrible, but it's not. It's probably my least favorite song on the album.
On that album, yeah. So that's why it didn't make it for sure.
Yep. I was kind of hoping I could. I was like, God, what's that last song on there? And I looked at it. I went, oh yeah, not gonna make it. And then I seen "Wasted Time" on "Slave to the Grind." I'm like, that's a contender. So that was on my list. It just didn't make my top 10. So good pick, Hopper.
Y'all were talking about the Kiss, the Kiss draft y'all did.
Yep.
And I had the cassette single to Wasted Time, and it had Come On and Love Me on it. And I always thought Skid Row did a good. First time I'd ever heard that song was by Skid Row.
And then they did their next. They had an EP that was Beside Ourselves, or maybe it's called Besides Ourselves.
Yeah, something like that.
But they had covers on there, like 5 of them, and that was one of the covers on that album.
All the covers on that album are pretty good.
Yep.
That B-sides.
Yep.
So cool. On to Bergie with his number 9 spot.
So this is kind of my, I don't know, maybe a weird one, but as I'm going through all these albums, and this one popped up, and I'm like, that really is a good closing song. And we had this gentleman, the singer, and probably, I don't know, was he the songwriter on this or not, but on our one of our episodes, we interviewed a gentleman named Anthony Corder, the lead singer for Tora Tora, and the song I picked is off of their debut album, Surprise Attack, called Being There.
Yeah.
And it just feels right at the end of the album. When the road seems too long and I know where I belong on the South Road, when grief seems to set in, it's the love that I find, but I just don't have the time. It's a wish to be near you. It's being there. Yeah, just a good song.
That's
I love Tora
pretty
Tora.
slow one, right?
Yeah, yeah, I wish I could play it.
I know.
So you could just kind of refresh your memory on it, but it's just a great ballad, I guess would be the word for it. When we did our interview with him, he talked about playing that song live, and I don't remember the story right off the top of my head, but go check that episode out.
Check it out. Yeah.
I need to. I really like Anthony Corder. I know when we interviewed him, he was a heck of a nice guy.
Super
and he
nice.
just had all kinds of stories, and I mean, we could have just let him talk for 4 hours.
Yeah,
he was amazing.
He had told us some cool stuff too.
Yeah, being from down south, he had that southern charm, and
just a southern gentleman.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt about it.
So, good pick. I like Tora Tora. I really do. My number 9 is a little song. We just did a draft, and it's out now. We did the Kiss draft, and it just got me thinking about Kiss. And off of Creatures of the Night, the last song happens to be War Machine, which I that was one of my songs that I wanted to pick but didn't get to. I got the other I Love It Loud off that album on our draft, but War Machine off of this album is so freaking heavy and cool. It is just awesome. And it was actually co-written by Bryan Adams, which is kind of cool. So I thought that was really cool. Most people think of Bryan Adams, you think of Summer of '69, but he co-wrote this song, and it is heavy as shit, and it is a really good song, and that's why it's on my list.
Yeah, good pick.
Speaking of Kiss, does God Gave Rock and Roll, is that the very last song, Revenge?
That's a good question. I do remember that song being on like Bill and Ted or something, the soundtrack.
Yeah, I just don't like that song.
I kind of do like it. I don't know. We'll have to look that up while you're talking. I'll look that up.
Yeah, but anyways, so that finishes up our 9. We'll move on to 8 with Hopper.
All right, 8 is come off an album that nobody talks about. It seems like it's Still Climbing by Cinderella. It's Hot and Bothered. Great song. I mean, I know it's originally off soundtrack, but I know they put it on that album.
Correct.
And I love me some Still Climbing. I think it's a great album. Nobody really ever talks about it.
I know. It's way better than Heartbreak Station, in my opinion.
So it sounds like the album that should have come out after Night Songs, actually.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's got more of a rock edge than...
Yeah, I could see it coming, it could have come out right after, what's the second one?
Well, Long Cold Winter.
Yeah, it could have come out after that. Stayed a little more rockin' than the bluesy. Because the Still Climbing's more rockin'
by for sure than Heartbreak Station.
Yeah. Heartbreak Station could have been their last one where they kind of said Sayonara.
So real quick, going back to Kiss, God Gave Rock and Roll to You is the last song on the first side of the cassette, if you had a cassette back then.
All right.
So it's not the last song on the album. It's the last song on side one, though, probably.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, back to yours, Hot and Bothered. Great pick.
Yeah, I like how you said it doesn't get enough talking about, but
it doesn't. It does not, for sure.
Love Cinderella, and that song's great.
Yep.
And I actually like that album a lot more than I thought I was going to. At first, it's grown on me over the years, and that ballad on there, the Mama song, I can't even think of the name of it.
I can't either, but
oh my God, that you can get some feels on that listening to that tune.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, Chris and I don't know if your parents are still living, Hopper, but we both lost our moms. So, we listened. We had that on our ballads. It should have been bigger, and it brought a lot of feels.
But yeah, good. That's a good closer, Hot and Bothered.
Yep, for sure.
I know y'all was talking about the song, and I can't think of it neither. But I know when I got married, I danced with my mom at my wedding to that song by Cinderella.
Oh, that's cool. That's
so
really cool.
It's a pretty powerful song.
It is. Yep.
Even though we're not. It's not has nothing to do with our list, but I guess it's just a Cinderella thing. So.
Yep. Nope. Good pick. On to you, Bergie, with your number 8.
Yeah. So my number 8's from another hair band. Hard to Find the Words is the name of that song, by the way. On the on the sim.
Yeah. That's
there
it.
You go. God.
And actually, the why I picked this song as a closer, I'll just say it. The song is called Farewell to You. It's on White Lion's, I think, 91 album, and maybe it's 92. I didn't look this up, and I didn't make any notes, but it's on the album Main Attraction. And pretty much turned out to be their last album. And their last song on that album is, like I said, called Farewell to You. And at the time, listening to that album, I actually remember, oddly, for whatever reason, driving home after I was honorably discharged from my Navy service and listening to that on the way home. It might have came out about the time maybe I got out of the Navy. But I hear that song at the end, and I didn't think a ton of it. It's a good ballad. Some of the lyrics I'm just going to read real quick. Well, it's time to say goodbye, my friend. I'm glad you stayed until the end. I hope that you've enjoyed the time we spent. Though I know that I will be back again, I don't just know how soon, or know just how soon, my friend. Until we meet again, just think of me, I'll think of you. And looking back on it, though, after all these years, I think that kind of was just a farewell song from White Lion to their fans. And I don't know, I feel like, I don't know if this is the case or not, but I feel like when they recorded that song, they knew that was it. They were hanging it up. Vito was doing his own thing or whatever, and Mike Tramp was going his own way, and White Lion was over. But anyway, good closing song to an album. Farewell to You on Main Attraction from White Lion. That's my number 8, right?
Yep, number 8. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that song all that well. My White Lion knowledge kind of isn't very strong because I only really got their Pride album.
Yeah.
And I didn't. Well, and I got this next one.
Big Game, it's
Big
called.
Game, with Little Fighter on it. I got that one.
I think that's
But
highly
after
underrated.
that's the only 2 I really ever bought and listened to. But I heard that Main Attraction is really good.
Yeah, I think Big Game was on one of Guru's like letdown episodes, like follow-up albums that tanked or whatever.
Yeah.
But I thought that album was far underrated. I mean, I don't know.
That Little Fighter song is awesome.
Yeah. And
their version of
Vito Bravo.
Their version of Radar Love kicks total ass.
I think so too.
Yep, it's pretty good. Yep, I like it too. Okay, number 8 for me is we're going to go to the little heavier side. I went with a song called Hollow by Pantera off their Vulgar Display of Power album, 1992. It's basically kind of a real power ballad. Hey, and just so you know, Pantera was a hair band before they were heavy. Just throwing that out there.
Little tidbit.
Yeah, they had 2 or 3 albums before.
Yeah, wasn't it Diamond Daryl before he was Dimebag? Wasn't he Diamond Daryl? I think.
Yeah,
Could
yep.
be.
And then Phil Ensemble kind of came in and they changed their evil ways. Basically, Hollow is a power ballad by American heavy metal band Pantera from their 1992 album Vulgar Display of Power. And then they have a live medley of Hollow and Domination. It's on their official live 101 proof. It's basically a song. Lyrics are reflection on a friend who slipped into a comatose or vegetative state. Phil Ensemble says that song's not about a specific person, but a series of losses he has suffered. Um, so it's really, if you've ever heard Pantera and you've heard Cemetery Gates, it's similar to that. It's really slow, and some of the lyrics are, "What's left inside him?" Question mark. Does he remember me? Remember us? Can he believe me? We seemed like brothers. Talked for hours last night about what we want to be. I sit now with his hand in mine, but I know he can't feel. And then it goes on, and it talks about his mother and how he's close with his mom, or Phil is close with his mom, and it has a really good story, and it's haunting the guitar work in it. Just if you've heard Cemetery Gates, and it's similar to that. It's just kind of eerie feeling. It gives you a sense of doom almost when you listen to the song. But it's really, really, really good.
It is a good song.
Yep. So that's my number 8.
Cool. On to number 7?
Number 7.
All right, number 7. It's another movie soundtrack song, but it was last album on Back for the Attack. We got Dream Warriors by Dokken.
Oh man, I thought about that one too.
Yeah.
Yep. That was a good one.
Did you ever see that video, Chad?
I don't know. Maybe way back in the day, but I don't remember it. I did. If I saw it, a lot of these videos I may have seen way back when, but I haven't seen since. So I may have seen them once, and
Yeah,
unless I see something 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times, I don't really remember it. So
I don't remember it a ton either, but I do. That's obviously on the
Dream Warriors.
Elm Street,
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Part 3.
Yeah, so it's got Freddy in the video, right?
Yeah, and then Freddie says, "What a nightmare" at the end.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny. Just his humor, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. Good pick. Yeah, I gave some serious thought to that one.
Very good
And
pick.
I know when I was looking through my stuff, looking back, man, a lot of the guitars in the bands I picked are just studs on guitar.
Oh yeah. Yep. Lynch is one of my Eddie and Lynch are probably and Jake Healy are probably my top 3. Yep. I just like the way I like the way Lynch plays. He plays those off chords that just sound kind of, I don't know, wicked.
Well, I got
something.
a virtuoso on my next pick too.
Do you?
I do.
Well, let's get after it. You're number 8.
Number 7, right?
7, I mean, yep.
7, yeah.
We're on the 7s. Well, there isn't much, we talked about Back in Black. There isn't much of a better album than this to me. This was an album that got me into this kind of music, or hair metal, I guess, so to speak, is Rat Out of the Cellar. And the album ends with a song called Scene of the Crime. And this is one of those that I think song 1 through, is there 9 on there or is there 10? I think there's just 9 songs. Oh no, 10. So it's the 10th song, obviously, the closers we're talking about. But 1 through 10, it's all killer, no filler.
For sure.
One of my favorite albums of all time. And I didn't think a ton about this song necessarily until we did that. We did an episode where we did
The Rat stuff.
Yeah. And
We rank the albums.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this song just it's way better than if I just took the album and looked through the song titles, Round and Round and Wanted Man and Back for More singles, I always liked You're in Trouble. Always like lack of communication. I'm insane, but man, this song's way, way better than like it's one of my favorite songs on the album.
I know.
Like
Yeah,
easily.
me too.
I wouldn't say necessarily it's my favorite, but it's got to be close. It's up there for sure.
Yep, me
And just
too.
the way it starts out, and it just feels like a good song to end the album with too. I want
Yeah.
to rock, but you dared to roll. I came by your house, but and so
You
on.
weren't at home.
Yeah, and Warren DeMartini kicks ass, and Robin Crosby kicks ass, and
Yep.
Stephen Pearcy kicks ass, and Bobby. Yeah, it's just a great closer for me. So that's my number
What
seven.
do y'all think about Warren and Stephen Piercy getting back together and doing a couple shows?
I think that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Are you going to that M3?
No, I don't think I'm going this
Yeah,
year, but I know I think it's pretty awesome.
yeah. Well, yeah. Anytime you can get any of the original members back together, it's for one, it's great for the fans, and for two, it's great for their pocketbooks.
Yeah, how far away are
Yeah.
you from that M3?
I'm actually pretty close, but I didn't really see. I think I'm about 2.5, 3 hours. I didn't really see nothing on the bill.
Yeah, I guess I
That was
haven't looked at it, but I'd over the years, yeah, you've been to it many times, obviously.
yeah.
That close, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to go. That'd
Me
be
too.
awesome. Not in the cards though. So
No.
on to me with number 7.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my number 7 is another virtuoso guitar player, and one of my top 3 that I just mentioned. The song is "Shot in the Dark" off of Ozzy's Ultimate Sin album. I just love Jakey Lee the way he plays. Everybody talks about Randy Rhoads. I'm a big Jakey Lee guy. He's my favorite out of the Ozzy guitarists. I mean, Zach Wild was awesome too, but there's something about the way Jake plays that hits my ear right, and I just really, really like it. Let's see. "Shot in the Dark" is one of Ozzy's biggest hits. The lyrics are rather dark, but musically it has tremendous pop appeal with slick guitar sound and tight chorus. I was reading something about this, and I gotta see if I can find it real quick. The video was directed by Andy Morahan, whose credits include Guns N' Roses' "November Rain" and several George Michael videos. And they went out. I can't remember what I wrote about it or what I read about it. Oh yeah, "Shot in the Dark" is it's like a long shot or whatever,
Right.
and it's he's a shot in the dark, creeping up to strike you when you least expect it. He's just wanting for voices in his head to give the good word. And then it was written by Ozzy and his bass player Phil Suzanne. Suzanne. I don't know how you say that. But it really, really surprised me when I read that, well, it didn't surprise me because I know Jake wrote a lot of Blizzard, or not Blizzard, but what's the one?
Ultimate.
Moon, and didn't get any credit for it. So I'm not surprised not to see his name there. And I bet you guarantee he wrote the guitar shit for it.
Yeah.
So just throwing that out there. Anyways, that is my pick at number 7.
Yeah, that's a good pick. It's actually one of my honorable mentions. I had it on my list.
Yeah, it's not my favorite song on that album, but I just love Jake and the way his guitar sounds. So I seen that and I was like, yeah, it's not my favorite song on the album, but it is probably my favorite Ozzy album. So
Yeah.
It's one of my. It's an album that don't get a lot of love neither.
I think "Thank God for the Bomb" is probably my favorite on that album, I think. But anyways, we'll move on to number 6 with Hopper.
All right, my number 6 is I got a ballad coming in here.
All right.
Probably one of my favorite bands, Great White. "Save All Your Love" off "Once Bitten," and Mark Kendall guitar. He's one that nobody talks about. He's just as good as a lot of them out there.
Yeah. Well, they're if you listen to Great White, I mean, he does have some pretty good stuff on there. But it's a lot of blues based, really
Yeah.
blues based.
Yeah, that album was so good. I mean, that's what the album that got me into Great White for sure.
Is it Once Bitten?
Once
Yeah.
Bitten, yeah. So, I can see the album. I'm trying to think of some of the songs. Mistreaters on there.
Lady Red Light,
Lady Red Light for sure.
Rock Me.
Rock
Oh
Me.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Save Your Love, of course, at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Great White is always, to me, always was underrated, and every time I saw him live, which wasn't a ton, but it was enough to be like, you know what? Every time I see these guys, they're fucking good.
Yeah.
I never seen them as a band, but I saw. Did you go to the one that was at the sports arena here in town with Jack Russell's Great White, Warrant, and I can't remember, but Jack Russell came out and he had a boot on his foot, and the doctor told him he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah,
He's supposed to stay off of it.
I think I did actually, for sure.
His voice sounded fucking
Yeah.
amazing. Just really, really good. I couldn't believe it. I was
Rest
like,
in
Jesus. Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of them that his body couldn't keep up with his voice. His voice was as good the last days as it was in the beginning. I always thought every time I saw him.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're right. They don't get enough credit, and not even I don't give them enough credit because I really like that album too, but I just never followed up. The one that really sticks in my mind that I liked a lot was Recovery Live, I
Yeah.
think it was called.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
I
then
like that too.
they did some Led Zeppelin songs on there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and I thought that was a fantastic album. So now that makes me want to go
yeah.
listen to
There. I can't think of it what it was, but there was Recovery. Was it Recovery Plus Live? So anyway, they had covers on there, but they also had some live stuff,
right.
right?
Yep. Yeah, and I just for some reason that album sticks in my head, and I remember the Psycho City one. Was that? I think that's the one. Yeah, with the neon lights on
Yeah,
the
that's
front.
quite a bit
Yeah.
later in their career for sure.
Yeah, but so I don't know a lot of Great White stuff, but the stuff I do know, I really liked, and I'm not sure why I didn't follow through with that band and kind of become a bigger fan, like I did with Rat or
Well, everybody
Motley
has
or
those bands like that seems like everybody else loves them, but you're just kind of that's Doc, and for me, you just had your pick off.
Yeah, that's Doc, and that's what kind of way I am about Doc. I'm not diehard like some of the people are.
Yep, they're there, and I can enjoy them, and there's some songs I really love, like It's Not Love. Fuck, I love that song a
I know,
lot.
yeah. Or that whole album is fucking
But
fantastic.
they're one like when the guys are talking about we should do a roundtable. What do you guys want to do? Or what? Well, Dawkin, we haven't done Dawkin, and I'm like, fuck, I wish I knew more about Dawkin because they're one of those for me. And Great White's that for you.
Yep. Doc and I'm okay at because I really liked their because I was a big George Lynch fan and I listened to a lot of it.
Yeah.
So that one I could do okay, but Great White I'd really struggle.
Well, I think if you're a guitar player too, you're gonna like Dawkin more than just the casual.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I think so too, because Kendall's just that good.
Yeah.
All right. Whose turn is
I
it?
think it's me, right?
Yeah.
Popper. Yep.
I think it is.
We're on my number 6.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to keep it brief for once. Off of the album is it Dressed to Kill for sure. Is the last song is Rock and Roll All Night. I mean, it was watch our Kiss episode and see where that one landed in the draft. But yeah, it's a hot one. I've been pretty much played at every show as a closer for since 1976. Of course, they're done now, but just a little piece of trivia. Does anybody know what would have been their closer before that song?
Well, before 76, they didn't exist.
No, remember, they were very prolific. That's probably like their 4th studio album or 5th.
They had
maybe.
2 in 76. They had the debut and then.
No, you're thinking of 74. They had Kiss and they had Hotter Than Hell.
Yep.
Is it Deuce
Nope.
or
I would
Strutter?
Strutter. That would be my
It's
guess.
Let Me Go Rock and Roll. Would have been a closing number before that. And it actually took a little bit of time more for that to actually catch on as they're closer. But Rock and Roll Night, like I ruined it already, said I was going to keep it brief, and here I'm yammering.
Well, mine's going to be really brief.
Okay. Your number 6.
My number 6, Hopper already had it, is Hot and Bothered from Cinderella's Still Climbing. We already talked about this. We know it's a great song off of an album that should have been bigger, but it just came out the wrong time.
Yeah, timing was horrible.
94, something like that.
Something like that.
And if you're new to Cinderella, it's a really good album, but I would start at the beginning for them.
Yeah, I knew you had it on your list when he said it, and I'm like, and he said the thing about, one that doesn't really get that much love. Well, we're going to give it twice as much love on this episode. So.
Yep, Hot and Bothered. If you haven't heard it, it's excellent rocking song. It's cool. Yep.
Well, dive into the top 5.
Yep, we're to number 5 with Hopper.
All right, so another great guitarist. Just got to see them a couple months ago. Going with "Play with Me" by Extreme.
Oh, good pick.
And Nuno is a beast on guitar.
Nuno is a beast. He's another one. He's probably my number 4. I just love him. He's the Porno Graffiti album. The guitar work on that album alone is just mind fucking boggling. Like Decadent Dance. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
I mean the
mind fucking boggling.
It is.
Yeah.
You listen to it and just the not even the solo. The riff is unreal.
Yeah, well, the song he's talking about too. When I first heard that, "Play with Me," I'm like,
"Yep,
this is just fake. Like, there's no way a guy can play that."
And if you think, I mean, and to get off subject again, but like he's not even the fast guy. Like Yngwie, and there's a guy that did Nitro. I can't think of his name.
Oh, Jim Gillette.
Yeah, those guys are fast.
That singer.
I don't like speed for speed. I like style, and he has style.
Oh yeah,
Nuno Bettencourt has style.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I'm not an Yngwie guy. I'm not a Satriani guy. I'm not a fucking Steve Vai guy. I mean, they got some good stuff, but they're more technical. Yeah. Whereas this guy, it just sounds like it just comes out of his pores, and it just feels good.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So, great pick. I didn't even have that one. I wasn't even on my list because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, it did come up when I was going through them, and I thought, to me, the only thing that held me back from picking that one too was just the fact that, like I said at the beginning, and I'm about to blow that theory out of the water with my next pick, but it was just, I didn't pick it.
How it closes?
Just because it's such a good song, but how it closes. And actually, the one I picked is kind of it closes something.
Well, let's just get to it.
Yeah, let's just get to it. Are we all done talking about "Play with Me" though? I feel like we interrupted you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Other than the fact that, and I'm not comparing Van Halen. This is the only comparison I compare Nuno to Eddie. Is the rest of the band Extreme is really talented, but Nuno he's just so good that he kind of overshadows everybody. But like Gary's got a great voice. Pat Badger's an awesome bass player, and their drummer's got to keep everything in rhythm.
Right. No, yeah, totally. All very good. Matter of fact, no, I'm not even going to go into it. Nope, not going to do it.
Okay.
It's just going to get off track again. God damn it. We got to stay on track. We do this too much. Sorry. Anyway.
It's the same way with us. So.
Yeah, it's like squirrel. I feel like I got to say it. Remind me, Nuno's brother.
Yeah, okay. I'll try to remember that.
Okay. Anyways, so we go on to you with your pick.
My number 5 is a song called "Hands Off" on the Junkyard debut from 19.
Oh, I had that. Yeah, I had that on my
on my list too.
So I just really like the song, and it is, I guess, the way it closes the album. There is kind of some closure to it.
Yeah.
With he's talking about, well, I'll just read some of the lyrics. I'll read probably too many of the lyrics, but it starts off with, threw my clothes in the yard, ran over my foot with your car. Don't try to say it was just an accident. Then you stole all my shoes. Now what the hell am I going to do when I don't even know what I did? And it goes on. And then I love the rant at the end, when he's just kind of beside himself with the...
It's great.
Well, I remember the time, let me freshen your mind. You told me, David, I think it's time I had my own space. So then I try to be the understanding man. You just call a Woody Allen character about the whole thing. I said, that's cool. I understand. I pack my bags and get out of your face. Then for 3 days on end, she was in bed with my best friend, discussing every problem. She cried, she begged David. We didn't really do anything. He's a really understanding guy, and he really just listens. And I said, baby, you gave him head. God damn. I just love that ending to that song.
Yeah, it's great. And that was on my list too, but I knew you were gonna pick it, so I didn't want to pick that one.
Yeah,
because we already had a couple that I knew we were gonna double up on.
So, I think David Roach he's sick. I've seen that on Sleaze Rock. I think he's got cancer.
Oh no.
Yep, yeah, the singer.
We just when we did our American Bombshell interview, they have a couple songs with David Roach on there.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyway, that's a whole nother.
Yeah, no, I saw that too. So
that's too bad.
Yeah, but good pick.
But I really love that band too. I love that album. I love the second album. I love the fact that they have a live album called "Shut Up, We're Trying to Practice."
Yeah, I've seen that too. I thought I read it wrong when I first read it.
That's one of those bands, another one of those bands where I bought the first album, loved it, and then just kind of didn't move on with the band. And you're always talking about them with, such love and adoration for this band that I got to go back and listen to this, but it's so hard. I keep finding these new bands.
There's somewhat of an acquired taste as far as you got to like Southern kind of rock.
Black Crowsy almost.
And that song to open that album, talk about openers, but blues is one of the best drinking songs ever.
Yeah, good song.
Yeah.
Good pick. Okay, on to me. Number 5?
Yes, sir.
All right, one of my favorite all-time bands. And that band is Black and Blue, and the song is off their debut album. It is called Chains Around Heaven. This song is... it's not their best song on the album, because that's probably Hold On to 18, which is their biggest hit ever. I think ever. Yeah, I think pretty sure ever. But this song is just a rocker. It kicks you in the teeth and just keeps on fucking going.
You like it.
It's a good one. And I was reading something about Black and Blue, or somebody was talking about it. They didn't even want to write that ballad. Who was talking about that? Somebody was talking about that. So Black and Blue is kind of a straight ahead rock and roll band. They don't do ballads. They have one ballad on Nasty Nasty, and that's it. And there's a couple slower, could be kind of mid-tempo ballads, but these guys just rock, solid rock. And this is a great, great song. It's on their best of, even though it wasn't, they didn't have hits. Other than Hold On to 18 was a minor hit, and then that
Miss Mystery, I think, was a little bit of a hit, maybe.
Yeah, not very. That ballad I'm talking about, it was our prom theme one year.
Well, I know you love the Black and Blue, and
they're so good.
One of your favorites for sure. And I feel bad because we've never really done a Black and Blue episode, but that's because of my talking about my lack of knowledge on a band. That's one of them.
Their first album's solid.
I know, and he tried to get me into it, and I listened to it 2 or 3 times in a row, and I'm just like, it's just not. It's something about it for me. It's like it sounds too 70s ish or something. I don't know.
Yeah, which album did you listen to, or did you listen to the greatest?
No, the first one. It's just called Black and Blue, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a blue kind of cover with the guys on there and the big poofy hair and the.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it.
You should listen to the next album, Without Love. You'd like that one better.
Okay. I'll give it a shot.
Yep. Anyways, that's my pick. Number 5. We'll move on to Hopper with number 4.
All right. Number 4 is the Godfather himself, Ozzy Osbourne, Road to Nowhere.
Oh,
Another beast on guitar, Zakk Wylde.
yep. Yep. That is a good one. Um, that is off of which one? Is that off
No More
Nebraska the
Tears.
Whiskey? No More Tears. Okay.
Yeah, I really like that song too.
And I don't know, have y'all ever seen Ozzy?
I have not.
I have, yes.
He's incredible live. And
And
Zach's a beast on guitar live.
yeah, and that's when I seen him, and Zach was out at that time for some reason. I don't know what the hell was going on, but Ozzy was really good. Um, he was old. He didn't move around a whole lot.
Yeah.
He sounded fucking amazing.
I
Yeah,
feel
his voice still.
I don't think he ever really moved around. He kind of fucking does his little shuffle kind of. I mean, but he got the crowd into it. His voice sounded great. The guy filled in for Zach, did a really good job.
Was that when during Joe Holmes? Because I saw him play with Ozzy. I guess it
Um,
was on. It might have been as far back as Osmosis.
no, it was. Oh, maybe it was Osmosis.
that's another one that I'm rough on the knowledge. Like I love some Ozzy, and one of my favorite live albums of all time is "Speak of the Devil." And
Yeah.
actually, it's probably not really a true live album, but
Yeah, I remember that's the one where he's got the bat dropping out of his mouth.
yeah.
Head, yeah.
But I'm not well versed in the Oz universe.
You know, I'm not. Other than the Ultimate Sin, I know every song backwards and
Yeah.
forwards, but because that's my favorite, and I wore the shit out of that. But
But that Road to Nowhere song is more in my like poppy hair metal sensibilities that I have.
yeah, yep. And it's funny because Zakk Wylde is such a heavy guitar player. Like it seemed to
Yeah.
me like when Zach joined the band, they kind of got more heavy because just the
Yeah.
way he sounds, and he does those pinch harmonics that are just he's like really really good. Yeah, he's awesome. That's a good pick. That was a real good one. Anywho, shall we move on? What's you number four?
Yeah, we're on to my number four.
Number four. I'm excited about my
Yeah,
number four.
I'm excited about my number four too. I wish I would have took some better notes about it though, because it's a super important song, I think, on my list.
And Virtuoso as well.
Yeah, and totally not hair metal, and totally not maybe even rock and roll, maybe a little blues. So it's a Stevie Ray Vaughan tune from his posthumous album "The Sky Is Crying" from 1991. So after he passed away, this came out. And the last song on that album is called "Life by the Drop." And I didn't know this until I did a little bit of research for this, but actually that song was written by one of his friends, a guy named Doyle Bramhall. It's an acoustic blues track. Just it's haunting. To me, it's just a beautiful tune.
I have to listen to it.
Are you, Hopper? Are you familiar with this song at all?
No, I don't even. I listen a little bit of Stevie Ray, but I like know like Pride, and Joy,
Yeah,
and
this
I
is
know he's
another
a
one.
phenomenal guitar player.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is another one where, and actually, if you get a chance to like go on YouTube and find, I don't know, I know this song's probably not on there, but there's Austin City Limits. Like he was always on that.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a show on
I've-
like PBS of all places where you know they had live tunes, but he, from down in Texas, you could get there's a lot of different live stuff of Stevie.
He was phenomenal.
He was,
Is
but
that?
His brother was really good too.
Oh yeah, his brother was. That's what I was going to say. His brother was probably just as good as him, just not talked about.
yeah,
Yep.
the Vaughn brothers,
Yep.
they have albums together too.
So
But this one, I got into these guys too. This was another
you get into the blues a little bit.
Navy.
Yeah.
I had some
Doors, blues.
Yep, some buddies that were, man, you don't know Stevie? You got to know Stevie.
Oh, it's
You know.
it's.
Then so I got into his whole catalog, but this one just kind of always,
I don't think I've heard that. I may have heard it, but I don't recognize the name of the song. But I do like a lot of Stevie stuff. I mean, he's just. You listen to his guitar, and it brings up the feels.
Yeah.
He just has really good.
Just going to read a quick verse of
Sure.
it. Up and down that road in our worn down shoes, talking about good things and singing the blues. You went your way and I stayed behind. We both knew it was just a matter of time. So anyway, it's one of them. If you hear it, if you've never listened to it before, go find it, check it out.
What's
Life
it
by
called
the
again?
Drop. It's
Life
on
by
the
the
Sky is Crying album. Yeah.
Cool.
So I'll leave it there.
I'll leave it there. Well, we're on to my number 4, and I'm super pumped about this song.
Cool.
Because we never talk about these guys, and they're a little bit on the heavier side. The band is Manowar, and the song I picked, well, the song is actually Blood of the Kings, but right before it is called The Warrior's Prayer. And it kind of bleeds into that song because I'm going to read the Warrior's Prayer because it's really cool. And then if you can imagine, at the end, when he gets to the end of this, it just rips into this fucking Blood of the Kings song, and it is so goddamn
And the Blood of the
good.
Kings is the closer song?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Warrior's Prayer, it says, so it's a little kid, and he goes, "Grandfather, tell me a story." He goes, "All right, go and get your storybook." "No, not one of those, a real story." "A real story?" "Yes, tell me about when you were a boy." "Well, then, I shall have to take you back with me a long way in time. It was my 13th year on a cold winter's day, as I walked through the enchanted forest. I heard the sound of horses and men at arms. I felt compelled to walk on and find the place of these sounds. And when the forest did clear, I was standing on a hill. Before me was a great plain. Upon it, the armies of the world, standing, waiting. I thought to myself, for whom or for what are they waiting? Suddenly a gust of wind came up from the north. There appeared a lone rider holding a sword of steel. Then from the south came another bearing a battle axe. From the east came a third holding a spiked club. And finally from the west a rider who wielded the great hammer of war. With them came the soldiers of death, followed by the armies of the immortals. They were few in number, but look in their eyes, they beheld them, that they would leave the day only in victory or death. And there was a great silence. Anyways, I'm not going to read it all. And it gets to the end, and the little kid goes, "Grandfather, who were those men?" And he goes, "They were the kings of metal." And then it just kicks into this fucking song, and it is so, it'll give you goosebumps the first time you hear it. It's so cool. And Manowar's kind of all about this, like the medieval times,
Right.
like when it was swords and hammers and battle axes and shit. And
Are they from overseas?
no, they're from the U.S.
Okay.
They're from the East Coast, somewhere on the East Coast. I can't remember. I want to say Philadelphia or
I
something.
remember in 1989, my buddy had a Man of War cassette.
Yeah. I wonder if he had that one or Fighting the World.
I can see the picture of it, But anyway, I never really got into them either, but I'll have to check that one out. Good closer.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you one song they done. I mean, now I know that song. They were, I just remember they
That
wore
one?
loincloths and.
Yep. That was Blow Your Speakers with Rock.
Oh, yeah. That came out in 87. What's it called?
Fighting the World.
That was for sure the cassette that he had.
Yep.
And he had this old Chevy orange pickup, regular cab from it was probably a 1970 model or set, and he had carpet on the floors and carpet on the ceilings and two big old Alpine 6x9s coming out of the dash or whatever. And that's, little Craco stereo with a sub behind the seat and a amp or something, just $39 amp you bought at Kmart and just wanted to kick that song, throw that shit in there and just kick you in the teeth with it. So
that was the first album I got too, and my buddies and I were like, remember I was talking about Metallica, how it was our band and how it was, these guys were the same way. It was like we were the only ones listening to this shit.
Right.
And anyways, so that's why I was super excited about this song. I was like, God, I just miss those days.
Yeah, not something we talk about usually.
Yep. So anyways, that's all I got. Yeah. Hey, Hopper, if you haven't heard them, go check out the album Fighting the World. And then
what album is that song on?
Which one?
The one you were talking about.
That's on this one, Kings of Metal.
Kings of Metal.
1988. Okay. They're one right after it.
So listen to the last two songs on that and just.
Yep. And there's, I think on this one here too, the last song is really good too. No, it's not. It's Violence and Bloodshed. I like that one. But yeah, check out those albums. They're really good, and their guitar player is really fucking good, and the singer can hit notes really high.
Yeah.
Yep. So
I do remember that.
So when you was talking about the 6x9s and the Kraco, and the kids today don't know about the struggle back in the day.
No. Yep. 6x9s, and I had a realistic cassette player. That was I got that at Radio Shack in Botno.
I don't know if you remember this, but you remember, so they had equalizers.
Oh yeah.
But then they had amplifiers too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and if you had the equalizer with the 7 or 8 lights that you could move the little sticks up and down and get, but the I'm talking about, this guy had what did they call it? So I said an equalizer and an amp, but it was they called it a power booster or something. It was literally you just pressed the button. There was only one button on that thing, and it was either on or off.
Yeah.
And when it was off, you couldn't even fucking hear the music. And when it was on, it blew your fucking face off.
Yeah.
That was just the way it was.
It's kind of like when they came out with the loudness button.
Yeah.
On your cassette player. Yeah. Oh, what's this do?
Why wouldn't I want that?
And it just, boom, everything sounded so much better. Like, who would ever have it not on? Yeah. Why is there even such a button? It should just be on all the time. Oh, so funny. Okay, on to Hopper with number 3.
All right, so this was mentioned, I guess, in the Motley show, but I'm going with On With the Show off Motley Crue's Too Fast for Love.
That was on my honorable mentions as well.
Definitely thought about it as well.
And it's just an incredible song, and it's like we discussed about it. I think it was Chris talked about, the rawness, and he actually said some of the lyrics, and I think it's a well-wrote song. And I did see a shirt the other day. I kind of laughed a little bit. A drummer had a shirt that said, "Who killed Frankie Fernandez?" I can't remember Nicky's real name.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But the shirt said that, and I thought it was pretty funny.
Ferrara like that.
Yeah. What the hell? Yeah, I've never seen that shirt or heard of that shirt, but
that's interesting for sure. Yeah. I love that album, and I thought about that song, and it is a really good closing song for
one song that I just thought of that I didn't put on my list. Danger.
Yeah.
How much I talked about that?
Yep.
About Motley Crue's Danger on the end of Shout. Such a good song too.
Good pick.
Yeah, very good pick. We're on to
I guess I'm up.
Number 3.
So I have my number 3. I wanted to get a Janie Lane song on there for sure.
I know. I just about did that.
I actually
tried
a weird honorable mention that has something to do with Warrant, but the song I picked at number 3 is one of my favorite songs on one of my probably least favorite albums. I hate to say it, but it's the song Stronger Now on Ultraphobic. It's I think I use this word for Life by the Drop, but it's hauntingly beautiful. It's sad. I just, before we shot this episode, I was trying to find some more information on it. If you go, there's the big songs, the big tunes like Rock and Roll All Night. There's a whole fucking Wikipedia page about that song, and you can find all kinds of information. Stuff like this, there's not a lot out there.
No.
Yeah.
I stumble across his daughter singing this song, Maddie Lane.
Yep.
And it's a great version of it. Yep. And it just, her singing it, her dad's words, make me a little misty-eyed in a way.
I grew a whole new respect for this after we did a couple episodes with Hair Metal Guru, because he has the tattoo. And, I had heard it numerous times before, because Ultraphobic happens to be a really good album that really got underappreciated. And I've heard it hundreds of times probably, and just didn't think a whole lot about it. I thought it was a good song, but I didn't think a whole lot about it.
Yeah.
But ever since meeting him, I sat down and I really, really listened to it, and I was like, holy shit, that's a good song. And I was gonna put it on my list, but I was just like, I thought you probably might have that one on your list, and I saved it as far as that goes. So
I love the song a lot. Like I always have. The first time I heard it, I it's weird. So I bought a drone a few years ago, and I made just playing around with it. I made a video of my kid playing in the yard, and I'm going to put a song to it. And this song has nothing to do with kids or anything really, other than the fact about what I just said about Maddie singing her dad's words.
yeah.
But I put this behind it, and I'm just watching him play it in the yard on the video that I put together, and it just makes me sad even to this day looking at it. But some of the lyrics, like just right away, the first verse, I held you for a moment in my hands, moment with you slipped away like sand. Through my fingers now in front of me, a choice I have to make to carry on or simply fade away. I lose you either way. Just good stuff from Janie.
He is one of the best all-time songwriters, I think. In my opinion,
I agree.
My opinion, everything he put down on. Now, I don't know everything he put down on paper, but everything that's been recorded and been that we've had the pleasure of listening to is very, very well written.
Yeah, I wish they would have came out 5 years sooner, so they would have had more stuff out there before they kind of went away.
Yep.
I saw something today on Facebook, just scrolling through, mindlessly, mind-numbingly scrolling, and somebody had posted the top 15 like grossing hair metal acts of all time.
Yeah, it was just his birthday.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Second, I think. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, Warrant wasn't very high up on the list, but that's just because they didn't have enough stuff, in my opinion.
Right.
Bon Jovi was at the top, and I don't remember who else, but Def Leppard, up there.
Yeah, your big
four: Def Leppard, Poison,
Motley Crue.
Tesla was actually up there higher than Warrant, but anyway.
Yeah, it's a shitty deal.
That's my 3.
3, okay. My 3 is going to be quick. We've already talked about it. Chris had it on his list, and that is Scene of the Crime from Rat Out of the Cellar, 1984. He said it very well. It's just one of those songs. When we started this thing out, and he was talking about his band, and I think I was right away. I was like, oh man, I love that Scene of the Crime song. And then I think you got more pumped about it and listened to it as we listened to it, and it's just a song that gets overlooked.
Yeah, no doubt.
Think. And it's buried at the end of the frickin' album, which some people just they go to a certain song and we're done. But it just doesn't get the respect that the other songs on the album do. But I mean, it is just as good, and it is freaking awesome closing song. Scene of the Crime. How does the beginning go again? You like to whatever. Yeah. We said it 100 times. We've talked about this song.
I want to rock.
I want to rock. You dared the roll. I just the way he says that when it kicks in is just amazing. So that's my song. That's it.
Beautiful.
Well, I wasn't surprised with that song with either one of y'all, because we had discussed that in the Rat episode.
Yeah.
When I first mentioned this to you guys, I was like, I bet one of them two's going to pick Scene of the Crime.
Well, we both
of us did.
Yeah, both
did.
So we'll move on to you, Hopper, number 2.
Top 2, baby.
All right, number 2, and I'm surprised this one, I haven't heard this one yet, but this was originally my number 1 and it got bumped. But it's Rocket Queen by Guns N' Roses.
Good pick.
Great pick.
That and I'd put a thing on my Facebook group, favorite Guns N' Roses song, and somebody mentioned this song and they said it's like 2 songs in one. And when I was playing it back for this show, I was like, it actually is 2 songs in one.
God, I haven't listened to it in a while.
Yeah, it is. It's an unbelievable song, and what an unreal way to close the album. So I can remember hearing this album for the first time, and then I can remember hearing it like when I really, really listened to it for myself for the first time. And when that song ends, you're picking your jaw up off the floor because that album is so fucking good.
It was, yeah.
And I'm a huge GNR fan. And I mean, I dream about, Appetite for Destruction Part 2.
Yeah.
We're probably never going to get that. And
Never.
I think it's because we got no Izzy left in the band.
I think he was the glue or the.
I agree with, I think he was too.
He is the magic that made that, I think.
But
he's their Malcolm.
Yeah, I love some of their other stuff. I love all of their stuff, really. There isn't anything that it's the couple of new ones. I'm like, come on. What are you doing? It's just like the fucking Motley Crue songs that are blasphemy to me, really.
It is, really. It is.
But I'll have them, and especially when it comes to Guns N' Roses, I'll always download them or buy them. As a matter of fact, I got some stupid actual physical media, like of Hard School and, stuff that it isn't Appetite for Destruction. But anyway.
Oh, yeah.
What a good pick.
Yep.
And guess what my number 2 is?
That explains it. There's the answer.
And it was just like you said. Gosh, it was my number 1. It got bumped. When we started talking about this was the first song I thought of.
It was, yeah.
And then the song I picked at number 1, I'm like, how could I not pick this at number 1? But
my number 2 is also Rocket Queen.
Wow.
Yeah. What is that for a coincidence?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yep. All three of us
Wow.
And we've said it all. I mean, it's just a fucking phenomenal song, and I think it should have been bigger.
Yeah.
Should have been a single. It should have been huge because it was so good. It's a little raw, but
and the whole part with the recording in the studio with him banging Steven's girlfriend or whatever it was.
Yeah. You couldn't have that on the radio. I mean, you obviously have to cut that part out, but it is so goddamn good. I mean, it's as good as Welcome to the Jungle and all those other ones.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it should have been a single, but it wasn't. But it made all of our number 2.
Just I can just hear that song playing over in my head, and just the ending of that song. I mean, I said it already this way, but just when that song drops at the end, Axl does his wail, and then the song just kind of ends. It's just like, holy fucking shit, what did I just hear?
Yeah.
Especially the first couple times you hear it. And even now, it's one of those that holds up so good for me, I think.
Yep. This whole album does. I mean, it was... when you talk about desert island
for sure.
albums, this is definitely another one. It's all killer, no filler. I mean, it was listened from beginning to end, and like you said when we talked about this before, is when I first heard it, I thought there was 2 different singers as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Axl's just got that deep voice that he sings with at times, and you're like, it can't be the same guy.
Yeah, I thought for sure. Well, Duff's singing that one, and Axl's singing this one, and maybe even Slash is singing one of these songs because it sounded like he had 3 or 4 different voices.
I know, crazy. So very good song.
And if you look at the back of the album, you got, it does say right there, W. Axl Rose, all lead vocals, but everybody's got backing vocals. Well, except for Slash and Steven, but. Anyway, that would be my for sure pick. It sounds cliche a little bit, but that would be my Desert Island album for sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
We did Desert Island records. I think we did 3, and that was one of my 3.
Well, if I can pick 3, that'd be a good one. Mark that down for an episode for us later.
Yep, no shit. I'd probably extend it to 5.
Yeah.
Because it'll be hard for me.
Well, fuck, if it's just me and you, it'd be 10 probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, so moving on to our number 1, Hopper, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to go with my local boys. Yeah, yeah, yeah by Kicks.
Wow, good pick.
Yep. That was on my list,
it was
too.
on my short list, too.
It was very much.
Well, I mean, it's like now I'm getting to interview the guys, and it's really cool. But man, it was a staple of their live show, and it's an awesome song. It just shows even the guitar work and stuff on it's cool. And
I think the live version on their live album was even better.
Yeah.
Goes when he just makes that middle part a little longer and a little more extreme, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and it always kills
and
live.
Snot bubble coming out of her nose. Fucking, oh my God, it's so funny.
Pricky.
Yeah, such a good song.
The big bottle of Jack Daniels, not the little one.
Not the little one.
Big one. And I always carry a stash.
I had two left.
You never know.
I had two left, two lose.
Yeah.
Girl of my dreams walked out of me last. Yeah, such a great song. Yep, good pick. Very good pick. Well, move on to number one. You want to say it at the same time?
Well, I'm gonna pull this out, and this is not hair metal by any means, but although I do think this guy could probably write a hair metal album if he was still alive.
This is my pick too, so I'm just gonna let him talk about it.
I think he could do it. I mean, the guy's a phenomenal guitar player, songwriter. Totally, not in our normal genre, but Prince, Purple Rain.
That's so funny because I was at work and I was like, it approached my mind. I'm like, I'm not 100% sure if this is the last song. And I was like, no, my list's too big. I'm just not even gonna. But I actually dig that song.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, everything about it's great. Like if you've seen the, if you didn't watch it live, it's all over YouTube for sure. With him playing at the Super Bowl and playing that song, and it fucking raining. I mean, how perfect could it be?
Oh yeah,
it literally looks like it's Purple Rain coming down, and he was just a true
professional.
Yeah, like artist. I mean, he could play the hell out of that guitar. He could sing. He could write music. I know he's not, Sebastian Bach or Guns N' Roses or Janie Lane, but man, he fits in the closing song on an album. Like, hard to beat.
It's impossible to beat, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As far as a closing song, because it is amazing. I can't say enough about Prince. He is surely missed. I never got to see him, which sucks. That's one of my what did you say? It was one of my bucket list. One of my bucket list things, and my wife also. And it just all of a sudden he's gone, and we can't do it, and it sucks. But yeah, if you go on YouTube and watch him play this live, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I think there's one with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something.
Oh, I was going to say, you need to watch that.
Yeah, is it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Yeah. He's playing with...
My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, good.
He shreds on that song.
Yeah, and speaking of guitarists that just don't get the credit, and he is one of them. Yeah. He is right up there with the best. He is so good. And it's... I can't say anymore. I mean, it's Purple Rain, and when we were doing this, and he kind of sent me his list, and I sent him my list. No, they were on there. I just didn't have them in order yet.
Same.
But Rocket Queen and Purple Rain were the two that were going to be my number 1 and 2, and I couldn't make Rocket Queen better. I couldn't put it in the number 1 spot because the Prince song was just epic.
Yeah, they're both great.
They're both great, but one had to be 1 and one had to be 2.
Where we live in the middle of North Dakota, we're not all that far from Minneapolis, which of course where Prince was, from.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I don't know if you've ever been there, but Paisley Park, where his
I haven't,
home
but I want to
studio / whatever. It's a pretty cool place to visit for sure. Yeah, and when you go in there, you kind of feel something like this guy's like watching us. from beyond or whatever. But anyway, yeah, good stuff.
Yep. So, well,
So
I
you could actually tour his house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. There's some rooms they don't let you in, but for the most part, like, he's got this big studio in his house, and he's got a big like room where he's got a big stage, and he can play, or he was, would play parties, have all of his A-list friends over, and just he'd put on a spontaneous show. And
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being at one of those?
Yeah. It would have been good times for sure.
It's no Puffy party, but
I'll say it is better than the Puffy P. Diddy party.
Yeah, well, depends on who you are, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
that wraps up the episode. Was good. I think those are 3 very respectable lists.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun too. I like doing stuff like this. It's pretty enjoyable.
It is. Well, I want to thank you, Hopper, for coming on. I appreciate it. I'm sure it'll happen again at some point. So thanks a bunch for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I will put a link to Hopper's Facebook and his YouTube page in the description. So if you have trouble finding his stuff, you can go into the description, click on it there. It'll take you right there. So that's all the time.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on again. And,
thanks for having me. I took up some time again.
Absolutely. And to all the people who are watching, we want you to go to our page, or our channel, like, subscribe. We need some help if we're going to keep doing this. So
right on. We do. We appreciate those of you that are here already. If you could tell 5 friends, that would be great.
100%.
So we appreciate you. Thank you. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We really hope you enjoyed our content. If you did, please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. We'd greatly appreciate it. Links to everything we discussed will be included in episode notes. Feel free to check those out as well. Until next time, stay golden, Pony Boy, and rock on.